Information system is just managing that flow that is coming from one end to the other. So this is a core technical factor. This is a more management factor. This is where the primary difference lies. This is typically trying to concentrate on the non-core business operations or activities. Any application that is being produced, that is being created, is created out of these three factors. Good morning and welcome to the first session, Unit 1, 4th semester BBA, Information Technology for Business, and we're going to talk about Introduction to Information Technology. Now, we are all in the world of digital technology, the digital campaigning all over. Online is the word that we are looking everywhere. So no doubt information technology is going to play a very great role in our daily walk of life. So information technology is the usage of computers, storage, networking, other physical devices that we primarily use to procure, to process, to secure that all the data and exchange all forms of electronic data. Now, let's talk about this factor of how does IT primarily focuses on the technical infrastructure, enabling the processing communication within the organization. So somewhere down the lane, as we are speaking, this becomes very, very important for all of us to understand, to get into the factor that how IT is actually making a difference in our all walks of life. IT is supposed to be the most important, the key infrastructure today that we are talking about. Once upon a time, we were concentrating on the physical assets, but today we are concentrating on the digital assets. Now, an information system is a socio-technical organizational system that integrates people, process, data to distribute the information. Now, this is very, very important because today we are in a world of information technology and there's a lot of social exchange that is happening altogether. There is information all over. People are exchanging information. People are reading. People are giving out information. You are coordinating, you're controlling. The entire business is all about managing the information. So information system is just managing that flow that is coming from one end to the other. In between, we are the people who are a part of this digital wave, and it is mandatory for us to go with the wave, to go with the analysis and understand why information technology becomes important daily. Now, we are concentrating between the difference of information system and IT. The first one is the emphasis lies on process, decision support. The second one is on the technical infrastructure itself. Second one is broader in scope. That one is narrower in scope. The third one is efficient, data-driven. The third factor that we are going to talk about is storage processing. Somewhere people interchangeably argue, they use this factor IS is equal to IT. But as students of information technology, specifically from the business administration background, we need to understand these differences. Why? Because somewhere down the lane, when people ask you this question, what is the difference? We need to understand systems are primarily more about the support, the decisions, and the processes. Whereas technology is all about the hardware, it's all about that infrastructure, the networks, the software, all those factors come into picture. So this is a core technical factor. This is a more management factor. This is where the primary difference lies. Today, people are emphasizing a lot on the process. It's not enough that you have downloaded an app in your mobile phone and you start working, but it is more important, how does that app work? So if the app does not work accordingly, then what happens? Then that starts the problem because people start asking you how, when, and why not. So that's exactly why we are focused upon this particular factor. Let's move further. Let's try to understand the need for information system. What is the primary purpose of information system? Enhance the internal operations, improve efficiency, facilitate communication, aid in decision making, provide meaningful information, yes, and a competitive advantage and support global operations. So somewhere down the lane, yes, this is very, very important, interesting for all of us, because when we start understanding the operational activity, that's the flow that's going on between us. We are talking about the communication that's happening between the stakeholders. So somewhere the client, the customers, the people who are working are all trying to coordinate, are all trying to communicate something in using this information technology. So that's where the systems come. And using that same information, we're also going to make something called as decision making. So that is very, very important for all of us. We are going to concentrate on decision making, and we are going to provide a competitive advantage altogether, because we are supporting that entire global process. As we go further, we're going to know an important word called as enterprise information system, which is very, very important for us, because now we are talking about an entire system, an entire factor which is used for the running of the entire system, the globe altogether. So we have a enterprise resource planning, which means to say that across the enterprise, across the entire organization, we are using ERP, enterprise resource planning, systems that integrate both the internal and external part, customer relationship management, where we are having the interactions with the current and the potential customers, very, very important factor. Supply chain management, what the world is talking about today, because we are having global manufacturing systems. We need the supply of good, the movement of resources, the movement of finance, and you probably need to push the good as soon as possible to the hands of the final customer. So everywhere there's going to be an absolute push in terms of the information technology that's happening worldwide, and we are a part of this entire device as we are talking about. So this is where you would start seeing the examples of information systems coming across. As we move further, let's try to understand business data processing. Probably as students of the business administration, the BBA factors all together, what actually matters to you is the business analytics. So today people ask this question: how do I handle the bulk of data that's coming in from the customers, that is coming from the vendors, that's coming in from my potential people out there? So how do I manage it? So we have a business data processing that manages the entire story, that builds the entire network altogether. So definitely I would say this is very, very important for each one of us. Next, we are talking about the intra and inter-organizational communication. Yes, that's becoming very, very important for all of us, because there's a seamless communication that's coming into picture. So we need to take care of it. We need to work on this. This is very, very important for each one of us. Followed by which we are also going to talk about something called as business process outsourcing. Probably the most happening part. In fact, I would say that I get associated with the BPO very, very long time. And this is one of the most fantastic area, I would say, which started giving us a lot of jobs across the globe. And when India became the center for business process outsourcing, we were the first people to manage the global data operations using the skilled people that we have. Now, this is something where we are doing a third-party service. We are trying to work towards the cost efficiency factor. And as we are talking about the business process outsourcing, this is typically trying to concentrate on the non-core business operations or activities. So when the larger corporations across the globe started feeling that somewhere we could save money and somewhere we could generate jobs, BPO was the answer and India was the destination. India had quite an amount of young English-speaking generation who were capable of taking up this business process outsourcing. They did it, and they provided a lot of cost efficiency there. And that's where we move to the next one, called as knowledge process outsourcing, which means to say that it is an information related activities that require advanced analytical and technical skills and specialist expertise, not to forget. Why? Because this is something which is going to concentrate on a particular area where you need an expertise altogether. You're not just going to do it just like that. And this system, what we are talking about, is something where it requires analytical, it requires certain research oriented skills, so that you can develop the business further, and it gives out specific inputs. Followed by which, let's talk about managers' activities. As we talk about the IT managers today, what is the job? Now, everybody says that I also want to take up a manager role in an IT company, but what exactly you do as an IT manager? The first one, you identify information requirements for different levels. You manage system development and integration of projects. So that's exactly where I see it. Now, this is something which you start working out altogether. Now, you are managing systems because you have to work with a lot of projects. You need to manage a lot of data that's coming in. So data security and integrity also becomes important for you. You are using the system outputs for decision making. So somewhere managers will play a vital role in information technology, because they not only see the design, they also see the implementation and the outcome that's going to come out in terms of implementing all those big systems. So that's exactly where managers' activities, that is the manager's role in the IT system, becomes very, very important. Importance of information system, I think probably this is one area where I cannot stop myself, because the number or the list, that is endless. Now let us start with a very, very small one, and the most interesting one that's happening in the market today. It's called as the market trends for the data analysis. I think probably each one of us are a part of the social media, and each one of us are worried about this factor. What is happening in the market? What is going on around us? So the market trend, and you need a lot of data that's floating. How to analyze what's happening, whom to follow, how things are going, which direction is the market, which direction is the social media trying to move itself. Everything comes from the information. So yes, the first thing is data analysis for market trends. Next one, development for effective business strategies. I think IT has become a core part of any business. So there cannot exist any business where we can say that, sir, I can live without the information technology. Now, nobody wants to go back to the typewriter's day, or nobody wants to go with the book and pen. Everybody has got digital gadgets, and every information is captured. Every information is put across in such a way that people are going through this digital wave seamlessly. Followed by which, enhancing organizations' ability to respond to changes of consumer demands, which means to say that the consumer demand, as we are speaking about, is something that is rising at an obnoxiously higher level. We are seeing something that is going on, and there's no stop about it. There's no way that the consumer is going to stop about his demands. There's no way the consumer is going to say that enough. So the demands are increasing, and the system is also increasing to match the demand. So business has to respond so quickly that they are able to match the consumer's demand and take it forward. As we move further, we also look into the subsystems of the information. So starting with hardwares, softwares, data, people, process. I always go on with these three factors: the people, process, and technology. So we have the people here, we have the process, and we have the whole lot of technology here. Without these three things, I think information system cannot be spoken about at all. This is the entire thing all about. So as I was trying to tell you, people, process, and technology is the triad, is the triangle that we are talking about. We have the people here, we have the process here, and we have the technology here. This combines the entire business, this combines the entire activity, and starts talking about how to build it, how to go about it, how to understand the entire psychology here. Now, that means to say that any application that is being produced, that is being created, is created out of these three factors. The application is created for the people. The application is built with some technology. It has some process through which the entire thing gets into the picture. So with all these things, putting these three factors in a triangle, you would start understanding information system becomes the core part of any business as we are talking. The next one is that example of subsystems are functional factors, which is used in marketing, or when we are talking about finance, we are talking about sales, operations, business development, or we are talking about supply chain. So you have subsystems inside the large information system, which is trying to help those sectors, those particular verticals to grow up. And all this open and closed based system on the degree of independence, again, it depends on how you want to use it and what kind of systems are you typically looking at. Now let's go further, try to understand about the factor called as what is an open system. Now, an open system is one which interacts with the environment. It has many interfaces. An open system is influenced by its environment. It exchanges on the factor. On the contrary, a closed system does not interact with its environment. It does not accept or provide any input. So a very, very simple thing that has been told about. When I talk about the word open system, that means to say that the system is ready to interact from all angles possible, from people, from the clients, from the vendors and all the factors. But a closed system is one which refuses to take any inputs inside. So this is completely taken back, and this one has got a lot of exchange in terms of the information factor as we are talking about. So this is very, very important for us as we are speaking. Now, as we go down to the next one, the adaptive versus the non-adaptive system, a system which reacts to its environment, which is able to understand its environmental conceptual factors, move forward, understand it, how to take it, and how to probably survive the system as we are speaking about. That's exactly is an adaptive system, and the system which does not change, which is not flexible in nature, which is not ready to move further, is a non-adaptive system. But let's come to the context today as we are speaking today. The most important thing as we are speaking is that is your system business ready, flexible enough to understand the business and take the business forward. So then only you can have an adaptive system, because today's computers, when you start talking into a non-adaptive system, because computers want to learn and modify, upgrade themselves. Now what has happened with AI coming into picture, the computer itself has started understanding how do I need to react to the customer's call. I don't have to do anything further, but then I know how exactly I need to talk. I know how to move myself. I know how to place myself. So that's exactly why this is becoming interesting day by day. Now let's try to understand physical, empirical, and all the conceptual part of it. So abstract systems are the theoretical structures. A conceptual system is an orderly arrangement of ideas. These are something which are more from the textbook standpoint or the theoretical standpoint. Of course, in the modern world, we are not talking about these things. Why? Because we are concerned more with the live database that keeps going on, that keeps coming into our mindset. So we might be the person who's more interested in the dynamics of it rather than the theoretical part of it. So physical systems can be derived based on the conceptual systems also. So our concepts are today put into action, and rather the innovation is more stressing, more concentrated upon how to make systems even more interactive. As we move further, now we are talking about those central processing system, microprocessors, interconnected devices altogether, and there is a large mainframe systems also coming into picture, the computer peripherals which are connected to that electronic mouse and the keyboard. All those things show us that we are in a very, very connected world, and there's this big word called Internet of Things which is also happening around us. So all these things are making the system even more interactive. Now, let's understand software, because software is very, very important. This includes all the information processing. The generic concept of a software includes only the set of operating instructions to the hardware to control it. But then it's also important for us to understand that even information systems don't use computer, and they have a software resource system. So software is basically the heart of any computer, I would say. Why? Because that gives in the instruction, that gives the idea how to take it forward, where you need to operate, and how things have to be taken forward. So everything is under the software resources altogether. Now, the software resource is true even if the information system from ancient times of the manual or the machine-supported information is still being used. Now, they all require software resources in the form of information processing. All the instructions are given by the software. They are executed by the hardware processing that we are talking about. And then as we start, the data resources that comes into picture. Now, it has been broadened when we talk about the data resources. This has information systems for the professionals. They realize that data constitutes a lot of value. So therefore, we need to know how data is effectively managed in the organization. So whenever we talk about this database management system, it becomes very important because that is the future of the organization as we are talking forward. Now, the data resources can also take many forms, including traditional, alphanumeric, and text data as we are talking about. So a lot of shapes and reasons, everything comes into picture here. And this data resource is not only transaction as I'm talking about, it can be probably even one single keystroke that includes the part of this entire information. So it's a whole long of data. It can be audio, it can be image factors, it can be a video, some graphic content, everything is a part of this database system. Now the data resources, like we have a huge amount of examples here, probably organized one, and there's a lot of sampling, a lot of things that go forward in terms of measuring sales information, or you're talking about some specific examples. But data resources matter a lot because this is going to be our data connected, our data interpretation in the long run. Now, when we talk about network resources, we are talking about telecommunication networks, which consist of a lot of communication factors as we are talking about, which is like, today's world as we start with internet, the primary idea. Let's try to understand all successful operations that we are talking about are interconnected. And it's very, very important for all of us that the computer-based information is being circulated everywhere. Now, the data resources starting from the BPO has also been a very, very important thing. And there's a whole lot of medium called as ITES, the IT-enabled services, which has formed a very important part of the computer or the IT system, IT world altogether, providing a lot of jobs in terms of human resources, accounting, customer relationship. So this is itself a vertical which is being created in the modern world. Now, the BPO, front office, outsourcing, all this are a part of the outsourcing system. All these have been helpful in terms of data management, in terms of survey, in terms of taking the entire business forward. So BPO, front office, KPO have all been a part of the IT vertical. Now, the KPO, as we have been talking about, which talks about the advanced knowledge process, as I have told about, it requires a higher degree, higher analytical brain, very important when it comes to application of certain specified knowledge, which can make the system even more interesting. The rise of information technology has given a lot of important information for us and dramatically changed the business. So it's a high time for all of us that we get ourselves certified in the information technology and start processing our brain towards it, because information technology is going to be the center of innovation. This is going to change the business, and tomorrow we are going to be in the business of managing information. So it becomes very important that we learn computers and we learn how to process the knowledge out of it. With this, I would come to the end of today's session. I hope and believe that all the facts and figures that we have spoken will be of a great importance to you, both in terms of theory as well as in the practical walk of life. In the upcoming sessions, we are going to see about the different systems, the subsystems. But until then, stay tuned, stay blessed. You have a great day ahead. Thank you once again for joining me on this wonderful session.